What really happens in a woman's mind when you go silent? That's the question we're tackling today, and I'll tell you right now, it's not what most men think. See, the moment you stop texting her, you aren't just disappearing from her inbox. You're creating a psychological shift that can either drive her crazy with curiosity or push her to move on completely. Welcome, man of substance. And today's topic is all about what goes through a woman's mind when you stop texting her. And trust me, it's a lot deeper than, oh, he must be busy. No, that's surface level thinking. Women don't process silence the way men do. They read into it, they dissect it. And depending on how she views you, your silence could either spark desire or trigger her defense mechanisms. This is where most guys mess up. You think she'll just text again? You think she'll wait. But what you don't see is the internal battle happening on her side. She's checking your last message, rereading the tone, wondering if she said something wrong, asking herself, was I too available? Is he talking to someone else? Or, if she never truly saw your value, she's shrugging and saying, whatever, I knew he'd ghost. You see the difference? It's not just about disappearing, it's about what your silence says, and more importantly, how she interprets it based on your status in her life. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens in her mind when you stop texting her. We're breaking it down step by step, from obsession to indifference, because every man needs to understand the power of pulling away. Let's get into it. 1. Did I do something wrong? The first thing that often pops into a woman's mind when you suddenly stop texting is self-blame. Her mind starts racing, and she begins overanalyzing every little part of your last few conversations. Why? Because silence creates a vacuum. And most women will try to fill that vacuum with their own assumptions. And guess what? Those assumptions usually start with, what did I do wrong? Even if you stopped texting her for reasons that have nothing to do with her. Maybe you're busy or you're just pulling back to regain some control. She doesn't know that. All she knows is the attention that was coming her way just disappeared. And that shift can be mentally unsettling. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The more she values your attention, the more she'll internalize the silence. A woman who's genuinely into you won't just ignore the distance. She'll start questioning herself. Did I say something that turned him off? Was I too available? Did I text too fast, too much? This self-questioning becomes a loop, and ironically, the more she wonders what went wrong, the more emotionally invested she becomes. And if you've been consistent before, this silence hits even harder. That sudden shift from frequent texts to nothing, it's like a mental jolt. It forces her to revisit every detail of your interactions, looking for signs she missed. Let's say you were texting her good morning and good night every day for a week, and then suddenly, nothing. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. That throws her off balance. And because many women are emotionally in tune, she'll start scanning the past like a detective, trying to find clues. This is exactly why pulling back the right way can actually increase your value. Because instead of chasing you down, she's sitting with her own thoughts, wondering what she did wrong and why you stopped showing up. That's how the chase begins on her end. But it all starts with a very simple, very human question. Did I mess this up? 2. Is he losing interest? Once she's done questioning herself, the next thought that creeps in is even more uncomfortable for her. Is he just not into me anymore? This is where things start to shift from confusion to insecurity. And it doesn't matter how confident she is. When a man suddenly goes quiet, that silence sends a message. Whether it's true or not, it feels like rejection. Now here's the part most men don't realize. Women are constantly picking up on patterns. If you've been showing interest, replying fast, keeping the energy high, and then suddenly you stop responding, it feels like a clear signal that your feelings are fading. Whether or not that's actually the case doesn't matter. What matters is how she interprets the shift. This is why your silence becomes so powerful. Because in her mind, it isn't just about missing a text. It's about a change in how you feel about her. She starts thinking, Maybe he realized I'm not what he wants, or maybe I misread the whole situation. That's when her confidence starts to take a hit. And here's what makes this even more intense. Women are used to men trying hard to keep their attention. So when a man backs off or stops texting altogether, he breaks the script. Suddenly, you're not chasing. You're not validating. You're not seeking her anymore. That alone makes her wonder if your interest was ever real, or if you've simply found someone better. Picture this. She's scrolling through her phone, sees your name, and expects a message. But nothing's there. Hours go by. A whole day passes. Her mind starts filling in the blanks with fear-based assumptions. He's probably over it. Maybe he was just bored. That silence, that lack of reassurance, it makes her feel like she's slipping from your radar. This is the emotional zone where most women feel the strongest urge to reclaim your attention. Not because they need you, but because losing your interest feels like losing control. And that feeling? That's what makes your absence louder than your presence. She doesn't want to ask if you're still interested. She wants to feel that you are. And when she doesn't, her mind starts drifting into panic mode. 3. He must be talking to someone else. Once a woman has gone through the phase of blaming herself and wondering if your interest is fading, her thoughts begin to shift outward. She stops asking, "What did I do wrong?" and starts wondering, "Who else is he talking to?" This idea doesn't come from nowhere. It's built into the way most modern relationships operate now. We're living in a time where everyone has options. And when you go quiet, her mind starts to convince her that someone else must be getting the attention she used to have. That's the part a lot of guys underestimate. Women are fully aware that dating today is competitive. She knows she's not the only woman in the world who's attractive, interesting, or available. So when you pull away, even slightly, she starts wondering who has replaced her. And not because she's paranoid, but because she's experienced. She knows how quickly people can lose interest, how easy it is to swipe right or fall into someone else's DMs. And here's what makes this thought even more intense. Silence feels like a shift in priority. When you're no longer texting, she starts thinking that maybe someone else has stepped into her place. It's not even always about jealousy. It's about position. About knowing where she stands in your life. So when your silence leaves that unclear, her brain starts to fill in the gaps with whatever would explain it. And the most common explanation? Another woman. Now, this doesn't mean she's insecure or clingy. It means she's tuned into the reality that most men don't just drop off the radar for no reason. In her experience, people rarely disappear without having somewhere else to go. So her mind starts making stories. And the worst part? These thoughts are often silent. She may not confront you, ask questions, or even show it. But deep down, she's convinced your attention has gone to someone new. That quiet paranoia builds. It doesn't matter if you're just busy or need space. If you were consistent before and now you're not, the timing speaks louder than words. And every unanswered message just adds fuel to the theory that your silence means someone else is now in the picture. And this is where things get personal. Because if she liked you, if she was emotionally invested, then the idea of being replaced triggers something deep. It's not just about losing you. It's about the thought of you choosing someone else over her. That hurts more than the silence itself. That comparison, even if imagined, can dig deep into her pride, her confidence, and her sense of connection. The scary part? Once that idea enters her mind, it's hard to shake. Every delay, every missed message, every cold response, it all starts to reinforce that same belief. He must be with someone else. 4. I need to get his attention back. Once she's convinced that your silence might mean something, whether it's that you're losing interest, talking to someone else, or simply pulling away, the next natural reaction is a shift in behavior. She goes from wondering what's happening to thinking, how do I pull him back in? That's when the chase flips. Now, she feels the need to reclaim your attention. This doesn't always come from a place of deep love or connection. Sometimes it's just about regaining a sense of control. See, When a man pulls back or disappears, it creates uncertainty, and most people, women especially, don't like sitting in uncertainty. It creates discomfort, and that discomfort pushes her to do something about it. Her mind moves from analysis to strategy. She starts thinking in terms of results. How do I make him reach out again? Even if she was the one who seemed more distant before, the silence shifts the energy. Now, she's paying closer attention to you, checking for signs, replaying conversations in her head, and debating whether to text first. She may not even realize she's doing it, but her mind is actively trying to figure out how to reopen that connection, because whether she admits it or not, there's a part of her that wants to feel desired again. And this desire doesn't always mean she wants to fall into your arms. Sometimes, she just wants confirmation that she still has it, that she still matters in your eyes. And your silence puts that in question. It makes her feel like she's slipping from your radar, and no one likes the feeling of becoming forgettable, especially to someone who once showed strong interest. This is why even women who claim to be detached or unbothered often find themselves subtly checking your status, looking for signs of life. It's not about desperation, it's about validation. That space you've created, it's loud, it lingers, it pulls at her ego, and the longer it lasts, the more it nags at her to do something about it. That's when you'll notice shifts in behavior, slightly more presence on social media, sudden interest in mutual friends, subtle changes that all come down to one goal: getting your attention back. Not always in obvious ways, but in ways that give her back a sense of power in the dynamic. Because at the core, it's not just about missing your texts. It's about wanting to feel chosen. Your silence makes her feel like that choice is slipping away. And instead of sitting with that discomfort, her mind looks for ways to pull you back in, even if it's just to confirm that she still has an effect on you. Once a woman hits this stage, she's no longer passive. She's in reclaim mode. Because in her world, attention is not just a nice feeling, it's a form of power. 5. Wait. Was he just playing me? After the confusion, the suspicion, and the effort to get your attention back, there comes a moment when the mood shifts. She stops chasing. The emotions settle, and now her thoughts take a different turn. She starts questioning your intentions altogether. That's when the doubt creeps in. Was this whole thing real? Or was he just playing me the whole time? This is the stage where trust begins to crack. If you were consistent, gave her compliments, showed interest, stayed engaged, and now you've disappeared or gone silent, she starts wondering if all that was just a game. A part of her wants to believe you were genuine, but silence has a way of making even the most sincere moments feel fake in hindsight. And here's the thing. When a woman starts to feel like she's been played, her emotions don't just fade, they turn. What was once excitement becomes bitterness. What felt like butterflies now feels like embarrassment. She starts looking back at everything you said or did, trying to figure out what was real and what was just talk. Let's say you were texting her every night, saying how much you loved talking to her, how you felt something special between you. Then one day, you go cold. No reason, no warning, just distance. Now those sweet words feel like manipulation. She thinks, so that was all just for fun? Just to keep me hooked? It's a mental shift that hits hard because no one likes to feel like a pawn in someone else's game. At this point, her pride takes over. The same woman who wanted to get your attention back now wants to protect herself. She may still be thinking about you, but now those thoughts come with resentment. The silence isn't just silence anymore. It's evidence in her mind that you were never serious. This is why disappearing without clarity can have lasting effects. Once she thinks she was played, trust is broken. And even if you come back later, the energy won't be the same. She's no longer curious, she's cautious. So in her mind, it goes from where did he go to, wow, maybe I never really knew him at all. 6. Should I move on? Once she's cycled through the emotions, confusion, suspicion, frustration, there comes a point where she stops waiting altogether. And this thought hits her. Should I move on too? It's not always a loud decision. Sometimes it creeps in slowly. But the silence, the distance, the mixed signals, they all start to wear her down. She starts realizing that the more she keeps waiting for a text that never comes, the more she's putting her own value on hold. And while some women will chase for a bit, even the most emotionally attached woman will eventually reach a threshold. Once the emotional investment starts to feel one-sided, she begins mentally checking out, even if part of her still wants you. This is where some men get it wrong. You think silence makes you more powerful, that it keeps you in control. But if you stay silent for too long without direction or intent, you don't look strong. You look unsure. And women feel that. She starts to wonder if you're even capable of leading anything emotionally. And guess what? That's not attractive. That's not mysterious. That's weak. At this point, you might think you're doing the smart thing by staying distant, maybe even expecting her to come crawling back. But reality check. Most women will move on eventually. They may not always say it, but once a woman emotionally detaches, it's hard to pull her back in. And here's something every man needs to understand. Being silent without purpose doesn't make you powerful. Being emotionally unavailable doesn't make you more desirable. If you want to create mystery, it has to come from depth, not distance. A man who knows how to communicate, lead, and still hold his frame, that's rare. That's powerful. So, if you're going silent just to test her, to see if she'll chase, or because you're too unsure to be honest, wake up. You're not leading, you're hiding. And she sees it. Because once a woman starts asking herself, should I move on? The next step is usually, I think I already have. And by the time you realize you missed out on someone who genuinely cared, she's already rebuilding her confidence without you. That's what silence can do. It either pulls her closer, or it gives her the time to find clarity. And once that clarity hits, she's done waiting, done wondering, done reaching. She's already halfway out the door, and most of the time, you won't even notice until it's too late. So if you're pulling back, make sure it's for the right reasons. Not out of fear, not out of games, but because you're focused, grounded, and intentional. Otherwise, don't be surprised when she starts asking herself the question you never thought she would. Why am I even waiting for him? 7. Why do I even care this much? After all the emotional swings, the confusion, and the questioning, there comes a moment when a woman steps back and wonders, why do I even care this much? It's a serious question, and not one that's easily answered. She's already spent too much time thinking about you, trying to decode your silence, and weighing whether or not she should move on. But now, after all that mental energy, this thought creeps in. Why am I letting this affect me so much? This is the turning point. The moment when she starts taking control over her feelings again. She realizes she's been letting her mind run wild, wasting energy on someone who hasn't shown enough to deserve it. And that realization stings because it forces her to confront the truth. That maybe she's been giving you more than you've been giving her. Maybe she's invested more in this connection than you have. Here's the hard truth for men. The moment a woman starts asking herself, why do I even care this much? You've probably already lost her, because this is the point where she starts to reclaim her emotional power. She begins to see herself more clearly, and she realizes that she doesn't need to chase someone who's making her question her worth. She's had enough of the uncertainty, the wondering, and the mental exhaustion. And that's when things start to change. This doesn't mean she's giving up entirely, but it does mean she's shifting her mindset. She stops looking at you as the center of her world and starts rethinking her own needs. She asks herself, am I really getting what I deserve here? Is this connection truly worth my time? And the more she reflects, the more the answer becomes clear. When someone pulls back without explanation, or leaves her in a state of confusion for too long, it starts to feel disrespectful. And no one likes feeling disrespected. So what's the lesson here for men? If a woman starts questioning why she's investing so much of herself in you, you've waited too long to show her what she means to you. By then, it's not about playing games or creating mystery anymore. It's about emotional neglect. And if you're not careful, you'll find that she's no longer questioning her feelings for you. She's already stopped caring altogether. At the end of the day, when a woman asks herself, "Why do I even care this much?" it's a wake-up call. For her, it's a sign that it's time to refocus on herself, to stop allowing your silence or lack of effort to dictate her emotional state. And for you, it should be a wake-up call too. Because by the time she's asking herself that question, you've already lost the opportunity to show her that you care. Here's the reality. Silence can be both a powerful tool and a dangerous game. When used correctly, it can build mystery, let her wonder, and even spark more attraction. Giving her space to think and focus on her own life shows confidence and self-respect. It's a clear message that you're not desperate, that you've got your own world to live, and you're not waiting around for validation. And when you let her feel that distance, she might start coming toward you, intrigued and drawn to your calm self-assurance. But here's the flip side. Silence can also backfire. If it's not intentional, if it feels like you're ghosting or avoiding confrontation, it will lead to confusion and frustration. Instead of building attraction, it erodes trust. If you pull away too much, she'll start asking, "What happened? Did he lose interest? Was I not good enough?" And that's when silence becomes dangerous. When she starts questioning your intentions and losing respect for you. So, silence isn't the issue. It's how and when you use it. You need to be intentional, not disappear without a reason. You want her to feel your absence, not fear it. Now, I want to hear from you. How has silence played out in your relationships? Has it worked for you, or has it led to disaster? Comment below and let's talk about your experiences. I'll be reaching out to connect with you personally.